Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show today. Welcome to I Want to Believe the I Want to Believe channel. Do you hear that noise?
I don't hear the noise.
Oh,
What is that noise?
Maybe I was losing my mind.
I doubt that highly.
Welcome, Linda. How you been?
I've been great. I've been really great because we, as in my team and I, we are the first paranormal team to investigate a local inn.
Oh,
like ever.
Never been investigated before.
Never. And when I started investigating in Ontario, I was told way back when, like we're talking in 1997, to never mention that there were ghosts at this inn. And last night, my team and I did a walkthrough and a little mini investigation in one of the haunted rooms.
Right.
And so we are the first paranormal team to ever investigate the Briars Resort and Spa in Jackson's Point. So we're really excited about this, and we're participating in their Halloween event. So that's going to be a lot of fun. So we're kind of pumped about it, as you can probably tell.
Oh, no kidding. I am like, that's exciting.
Really exciting, because we were told for years that we could never say that the Briars was haunted, but they have new ownership and they've got a whole bunch of new people, and it's just so incredibly vibrant right now and really amazing. So we're so grateful and excited. But that's my story. How are you? I mean, how are you keeping?
You know what? Doing really good. I was actually just realizing that for some reason, I don't know why it's not showing up on Facebook. I don't know if there's a problem here or not, but it doesn't matter. That's okay. People will find us. No, I'm doing good. I'm doing all right. Yeah. It's been really busy doing readings, a lot of readings, personal readings lately. Been keeping really busy with that. And, it was wild. I'm not going to give too many personal details away, obviously, because it's, clients and stuff. But it was kind of neat because I actually felt a secret room today while doing a reading.
Really?
I did, in their house. They had an old house. I didn't realize. I said, but I didn't realize they had an old house until, she had talked about it later. And I said, it feels weird. Like, it feels like there's a secret room somewhere. And I feel like there was children there. And she goes, interesting. She goes, they found a spiral stairway in their house that led up to like a room, like a attic that had been kind of, blocked away, with two little children's beds in there.
What?
Yeah.
That's a little freaky though, Kathy.
So then I said to her, I said, I keep seeing a stuffed animal in this room. And I didn't really know what that was about, right? I just kept seeing a stuffed, like I heard stuffed animal, and she was like, I literally just put one up there like a week or so ago. She put up a stuffed rabbit.
No.
So I was like, okay, then there we go. All right.
Well, how accurate are you? That's amazing. Congratulations.
I was pretty, because normally I don't see secret rooms in houses or anything like, so that just sort of, but and I thought, well, this is sort of a shot in the dark, but this is what I'm feeling. I don't know if I should even say anything because you're kind of like, that sounds a little nuts. Like, I don't know, but whatever, I'm going to do it.
Go with your gut.
Spit it out. Yeah. Because it was, and it turned out, so she was quite happy with all of that. So
good.
Yeah, it was good. So I'm really, it was a good day. It was a good day in that way. Yeah. Good. We have a pretty amazing guest on. He is an archbishop. He does exorcisms. He does investigations. Let's introduce him. Let's bring him on. I'm going to get you to say it because I always mess up on names.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm going to try really hard. I mean, with my maiden name being Kostovchik, I think I might be able to get this one. So we have Archbishop Plato Angelakis. I think I got that right.
Ooh, I love that. See, you did that very well. I would not have been able to do that. I am horrible. I'm horrible with pronunciations. I had a Ukrainian maiden name myself, which I couldn't pronounce. So there you go. So let's bring on the Archbishop and say hello and introduce him. Hello.
Hello, how you doing, ladies?
We're doing good. It's such a pleasure to have you on the show today. Thank you so much for
Pleasure's all
joining
mine.
us.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
pleasure's all mine, ladies. Pleasure's all mine.
Oh, we're very honored to have you on. So, can you tell us a little bit about what you do, first of all?
What do I do? Well, when I'm not wearing this, I'm a registered nurse. I work in a few hospitals, and that's how I pay my bills and my mortgage and whatnot. There's a whole history behind all that. But this was something that I wanted to do as a hobby, and I wanted to become ordained pretty much all my life, and then of course, it really evolved into a lot more. If I could do this full time, I would. Unfortunately, I don't charge for anything that I do. It's just something I believe. I don't involve money with that. I know that obviously someone who does this full time, there's they need to eat, right? They need to make a living, but I don't. I make my living through nursing. So this is something that I do. I really enjoy this part of my life. It's most rewarding because I can help people and not have to worry about the financial and whatnot. Because with this comes when you meet people that need this kind of help, they're already so much in trouble with perhaps even financially, that they this is not it's just I try to evolve to expel the politics and money from this, because really this is God's gift. People who know about having gifts and having a calling, that that it's God that provides that. So I mean, I'm not going to double dip, into my blessings. This is God's gift, and I'm going to use it for God. And God has blessed me with other ways to make money and provide for myself and my family and whatever else I need. So that's how it all got started. Well, just since I was a young boy, I've always been close to the church. I grew up Greek Orthodox. Went to church on Sundays, and the whole bit. And then when I got older, I inquired about becoming a Greek Orthodox priest. Unfortunately, at the time, we're talking 40 some odd years ago, you had to be quite fluent in Greek. I could speak fluent Greek, but not at the level that they wanted at the time. So
Right.
it just wasn't going to happen. So I just was okay. Well, so be it. Yeah. And of course, life went on. I did various things in my life, and many careers, many things. Of course, became a nurse as well, and when I got married, I married a Catholic woman. So because she couldn't speak Greek, I thought it was unfair that I would convert to Catholicism, since the churches are somewhat the same. We're Christian in nature, so I converted to Catholicism. Again, once I became a Catholic convert from Greek Orthodox, the again, that little edge, little thing that's edging at you,
Mhm.
back at the church, So I got involved with the church, and but being a married man now, you couldn't be a Catholic priest married. So I tried to be a permanent diaconate. You could be a permanent deacon and be married. So I tried that over the course of 8 years, twice. Every 4 years you can apply. Again, I wasn't successful for whatever reason. It just wasn't meant to be. I feel like God just sort of puts a stop on things. So I just said, okay, God, I guess you don't want me to be, this is not what you want, because, it's a calling. And if you don't have it, you just don't have it. And I went to a couple of religious retreats, and I used to always still get involved. And I ran across an archbishop in Wisconsin that took me under his wing, trained me, eventually ordained me, and became a priest. And then, I was just doing the odd marriages, funerals, wedding, those kinds of things, blessings. And I was just enjoying my extra hobby. I was actually a priest, but I was an independent priest. He was a part of the Old Roman Catholic Church. Those priests get married, and just like the Greek Orthodox, they get married. So that was fine. I became a priest, did my thing. Um, Later on, I joined the Mexican National Catholic Church. Um, Not Mexican by any nature, but the Mexican National Catholic Church kept the Mexican name because there are a handful of churches that are independent from Rome. recognized as being valid by Rome, but they operate autonomously for whatever reason, like the National
Right.
Polish Church, the Ukrainian Church, the Greek. There's a Catholic Greek Church, the Mexican National Catholic Church, which their historical part was it because of the Mexican Revolution. The national government at the time, back in the turn of the century, was trying to oust the Catholic Church, and of course, most of them left. The peasants and some of the clergy remained behind, rebelled over the revolution that went on. Ultimately, they succeeded, they won, and they were able to keep their church and their religion and their faith and the Roman Catholic Church. They were able to maintain. And of course, the Rome was trying to reinstill the bishop after the revolution, and because they weren't involved, they kind of decided to oust themselves and leave. They sort of fought back, saying, "Well, why would you bring a bishop? We want to make our own now, and, because we fought for this." And so the Pope at the time said, "Fine, you guys can be autonomous and Catholic in nature and whatnot." And that's how that became. And of course, that spread through into the north, into Texas, and into the United States, and of course, I'm up to Canada. What sets the independent churches aside? The only difference really is there's no politics. There's not a lot of politics. We
Right.
don't follow the precepts of Rome. We don't follow the Pope. The Pope is not our head. So
I'm Ukrainian Orthodox, so
yeah,
we don't follow
so,
the Pope. Yeah.
no, but you still have
Mhm.
your highest authority, right? So as an
Yeah.
archbishop, I'm now the representative in Canada. I'm the only one, but but that's how I'm the only one. But I represent the Mexican National Catholic Church in Canada, and of course I'm slated to be a cardinal. But that's just a title, really. It's not a big deal.
Right.
It's still bishop. So, but regardless, it's what I thought was really really nice, and this is God, all this is God's plan from the onset was you can still have a family and have a job and still be a Catholic priest or a bishop and be independent of Rome, not have to worry about the politics, not worry about the money, not worry about anything because you basically are independent. What makes us valid is our apostolic succession. Um, I can trace back my lineage of the laying of the hands. When I became a priest and a bishop. And if I
Okay.
go ahead or back to Christ, I have the actual records, so I can trace back. Who ordained me, who ordained that person, and that person, right back. So to the Apostle James. James, of course, after the crucifixion, went west to Spain, and of course, and from there, ordaining, you know,
Right.
Spanish individuals. And they, of course, migrated west into the South Americas, of course, up into Guatemala, and then right into Mexico, right into the United States, Southern United States. So that's my lineage. That's my line of apostolic succession because I have a really good pure line, and I can trace it back with legitimate priests, even the Pope himself, Francis, being from South America, is part of that line. There's a lot of overlap, so there's a lot of branches, and so in my line there's popes and there's saints and there's all kinds of wonderful people. So I've got a really solid line. So that's what holds me apart from everyone else and makes me valid. The second most important part about that is that if you want an exorcism, you don't need to call Rome. You don't have to go to the Pope and wait 3 months and pay $10,000 and have this and that and
Right.
wait 2 years and whatnot. And yeah, I don't just go in on the first day. I also go through a very thorough investigation, and
Yeah.
it might take several months, but it will never take as long as what they would take. And but I have taken courses at the Vatican. I'm also slated to go there when the COVID sort of subsides. If you ever watched the movie, The Rite, everybody watched the movie The Rite.
I have
About,
seen it. Yeah.
about the exorcist that didn't want to be one. He only went there for the education.
Yeah.
Ended up going to Rome. Well, that particular course he took, that's the one I'm enrolled in. There's
Wow.
they only run it one time a year in
Yeah.
June primarily, and it runs over a week, and it's full time. But unfortunately, I'm enrolled, but I can't go, so they put everything on hold. In the
Mm.
meantime, I think some courses they've offered on exorcism online over the course of a week. So I did kind of an online week course with them. So I'm still kind of Vatican trained, because I do the Roman Rite, which is Vatican rite. It's what the Vatican uses. So I will use that particular rite in exorcism. Though I'm not part of Rome, I still follow many of the precepts, and we still follow a lot of the same rules. But again, aside from the politics and the money and other things and some other small details, being independent is beautiful.
Right.
I have full autonomy to do what I want and when I want, how I want, and it's great. I can really tweak my practice, as an exorcist, without having to worry about an archbishop or a cardinal or the Pope himself saying, "Well, you're doing something wrong. We don't want you doing this," and sort of that, because it really puts a block on helping. I mean, the whole point is to help people, and that's what I want to do. So that's basically. So everyone's like, yeah, I mean, end up being an archbishop. Well, actually, a priest initially, and living up where I am, I got a call from an Ottawa team, an Ottawa paranormal team, and they said, like, we found you on the internet. Would you mind coming to do an investigation? We found that this person may have some demonic things going on, and we're really we've gone over our heads. This is too much for us. We couldn't handle it. So I said, "Well, sure, I'll go. I can be. I'll bring my ritual book. I'm going to read it. No big deal, But no, boy, did I ever learn, that it takes more than just reading from the book. You have to have that boldness and veracity, and have to have it. And it was after that case that I realized that I had a calling for that, and it seems like that's all that I've been doing. So from that led to paranormal conventions and talks and speaks and
The whole,
podcasts, everything. Just and I'm trying to write a book, and of course it just culminated into a full-time sort of spiritual sort of cleansing sort of ministry. And I don't do very little marriages now and baptisms and things like that. It's more of, this is what I do. So
right.
But again, it's I realized what a calling was, and that was my calling. So not the greatest preacher. I'm not the greatest maybe I don't know how to call it, I guess being a cleric in a hospital or whatever. Everybody has sort of their talents, their niche, but it seems like this is what sort of grasped my attention, and I've been very successful. So that sort of led me to believe that God's chosen me to do this kind of work, and I'm not afraid. It doesn't bother me. I know I have the backing of God, and it's great. I can go there and do what I need to do, and really help people. That's the story, really.
How many exorcisms do you think that you've probably performed since the beginning?
Many. I've done many. I don't keep track of them, honestly. Exorcisms are, if you take the ones you see on TV, like the one like 1977, they're not all like that. That might be about 5% of the population. They do exist. They're quite vile and violent, but the majority of the ones are more of a cleansing, more of a, like, first you get an attachment. It's there,
Right.
it's lingering, it's there, it's just waiting for you to sort of whatever kind of give it consent, whatever with your actions. Then it becomes sort of infestation, and then an oppression, and it can lead right up to the exorcism, right? So it's you don't just unless you outright say, I want to be possessed, then and that happens too. People will actually ask for that stuff. It's usually a progression. So if you count all the ones that in between that are not that are very minor, there's numerous. I've done numerous ones
Right.
because exorcisms are an exorcism is a baptism. A baptism in the pre-Vatican II rite. A baptism is considered an exorcism. When you go to reconciliation, you sit in the confessional booth and you confess your sins to the preacher and and the priest, and you get absolution. That's a form of exorcism because you get deliverance. So if you count all those particular things, you put them all together, those are actually considered. So sometimes I go to a house and all they need is a prayer or a confession, or and they feel better, they feel delivered, they've changed their ways, and off they go. And the outcome is more important than the actual well, I went out there
Yeah.
It's more about, okay, you're doing good. You've turned your ways. There's a lot of investigative work, a lot of prep work, a lot of interviewing that goes on through this whole entire process. So sometimes we don't need to go all out with the salt and water and vinegar. I've been very notorious. I'm very excessive with my oil and my salt and my water. And being Greek, they tell me I cook up a real mean Greek salad when I go through the house. I got salt everywhere, water, vinegar, oils everywhere. Like it's a tossed Greek salad. It's a mess. And people are after sliding on the salt because I pour boxes of the stuff. I really do. When it comes to a really bad case that really needs it, I don't spare.
Yeah. You don't spare the salt.
Well, I mean, there's some major cleaning up to do after I'm done. But
That's okay.
it's gone. But I'm in the notorious to create one mean Greek salad. So,
Actually,
anyway,
I have a question.
Yes.
I want to know from your experience, what do you find is normally the cause of this oppression or all of that? I mean, what normally is the cause? Because, people will say, well, I've been playing with a spirit board, or I called something in, I invited something in, but I don't know how. What are normally the causes of all of this?
It's basically you've given it consent. You've given some consent. I mean, I'll make 2 points. So the first point is people ask you, what is an exorcist? And the way I kind of describe an exorcist is I go in to get your free will back that you've given away or part of it away, whether intentionally or inadvertently. You've lost some control of your free will, which is the most valuable thing you have. And the free will was the reason why Satan decided to rebel against God, because he said he gave us the free will, and with that free will comes power and authority. I mean, a lot of people can actually exercise things out of their own house and say, I don't want this here. This is my free will, and you don't get it. And we should watch our spirituality and our free will. With like you have to fight for it and keep it. And the universal law of God is God says, I give you free will and I don't interfere unless you ask God for help, ask the angels for help, heavenly help.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to get it. Because I'm not going. If you don't want it, I will never impose. God will never impose Himself on anyone. So that universal law applies to everything of this creation, even the demonic, even Satan, which is they're fallen angels, but still they're part of that rule. So the demonic cannot. And people say, well, I can kill demons. You can't kill demons. God never killed a demon. God expelled them. He kicked them out of heaven. He never killed them.
Right.
And He sent them to another realm, another spirit realm, which is above us. We have our earthly plane, and we've got the spirit realm, and the spirit realm is quite large. And just above us is probably where Satan would be, and the demons above that would be God and the heavenly realm. And so they can't cross the barriers unless we give it consent. So God won't come down and interfere unless we say, God, please, help me. I want help. My son, whatever. And the angels come, God comes, and you might see a blessing and a miracle. Likewise, unless you ask give the demonic consent, they cannot harm you. They cannot touch you.
Right.
So why do they? Well, turn on the TV, watch for 3 seconds, 4 seconds. You can see, all the things that we do in the world, wars, and our, all our, our the way we think, the way we talk, and we give it consent. Certainly, the Ouija boards. It's just a board. It's just a board with writing on it. It's nothing, right? Tarot cards. They're just cards with painted pictures. Well, it's the intention you put in it. The conjuring of intention, right? Yeah. So I'm using like the magic pen. I want to write in the magic pen. And it's just a pen, but it's what you do. You conjure up things, and so you're inviting. That's why I tell people, don't be knocking on a devil's door. He's going to answer. I mean, like, what are you thinking? Oh, I want to go into a, like you said, I just heard you say you want to do an investigation. Well, that's wonderful. I'm all for the science. I think it's wonderful to explore and see, earthbound spirits, and if they need to move on. I've moved on quite a few of them, and it's interesting. We're human beings, and we're interested in that. But we have to watch what we say, how we
Right.
say it. You watch the TV, oh, do that again, hit that wall, hit me in the back, tell me you're here, give me a sign, and then next thing you know, you go home and you have this attachment, and then all of a sudden, the kids get into drugs, and the parent, then you're fighting with your spouse, and then you got money problems, and you lose your job, and you this, and then just their agenda is to destroy God's creation and to destroy you
Right.
and ruin you. That's their agenda. They don't care. They don't. In all honesty, the devil doesn't need to collect souls for hell. He doesn't. He's got his own entourage of 1/3 of the angels. He's got his realm. He doesn't need us to go to hell. He just wants to prove to God that we're not worthy of the free will that He gave us. That's what pissed him off the first time. That's really what it is. Everybody thinks that the devil's trying to collect as many souls as possible. He doesn't care. If they're there, if we're there, we're there. He doesn't care. Torment us, whatever. If if we believe in hell or not, that's entirely up to you. But that's not what his agenda is. The agenda is he wants to prove to God, you're wrong. God, you created these people and gave them free will. You didn't do anything for us. So this is what his proof is. He's trying to prove that to us. And I can give examples like in the book of Job. And Job, he was he had everything. Wife, children, wealth, land, every blessing you could possibly imagine. If you read the book of Job, it's quite long, but it's very, very interesting. And the devil says, yeah, it's so easy for Job to give you blessings and praises and love and everything else because you give him everything. So why wouldn't he? And then God said, well, then go ahead, do what you want with him. You can't harm him. You can do whatever you want with him, and to prove to him if he loses his faith. And sure enough, slowly, he lost the wife, lost the children died. Lost the house, the wealth, everything, the money. He went on and on. Basically, had nothing but his clothes on his back, and he was raggedy, like homeless, literally. And and people were saying, "Well, what's going on here?" And but at the very end, he says, "No, I haven't lost anything." Even though he lost everything, he said, "Because all I really needed was God," and he never lost that. So at the end of the story, Job said, "I didn't lose one thing." So what do you mean you lost everything? I didn't lose one thing because all I ever needed was God. And I still have them. So it doesn't matter about anything else. And of course, then at that point, God was like, "Oh, you see, devil, whatever." He still praises me, even though I've taken everything away from him. And he restored everything. He had a new wife, new children, 100 times more than what he had before. God has. If you go through the scripture can support everything we do, even in the paranormal world. I mean, we're told, like in the book of Ephesians, for example, people read the book of Ephesians. It speaks about the armor of God and protecting ourselves and whatnot. But if you really read it, it's a manual. It's a manual for people who are in the paranormal world. It really is. Because in the beginning it says, "Please, I tell you, do not dabble. Do not go into the occult. Do not do the psychic stuff. Don't do this. Don't do that. Whatever." Then it goes on to say, "But if you're going to do this," I guess God knew. I guess we're all gonna. He added
We're going to dive into it anyway.
For kids.
And into that, he's looking. But if you're going to do this, know that you're not dealing with the physical world. You're dealing with the spirit world, and it runs under different rules and whatever. So know that you're not dealing with the flesh. You're dealing with the spirit. Be aware of that. Then he goes on to say, okay, now that you know that, make sure you have the armor of God when you go into this battle. The helmet of salvation, the girth of the breastplate. He goes through a whole thing. Basically, it's talking about morals and being a good Christian, being a good person, all that. To have that confidence of yourself, so you can go into whatever you're doing into this spiritual battle. So it's a manual for that, and people see it as book of Ephesians, but it's talking about, well, don't do it, but if you're going to do it, know what you're dealing with, and then be prepared to undergo those consequences. And so when I go to a Paracon, that's my primary focus. When I do a PowerPoint presentation, I speak of the being careful what you say, what you do, your actions, your words, whatever. Because you're going to give them consent. They're just waiting for you to say the wrong thing, do the wrong thing, whatever, and then that opens the door, and And of course, when I go in to do an exorcism, I have to prepare myself. People ask me, well, how often do you fast? And how long do you fast? And well, I fast for as long as I need to fast. It might be a day, it might be a week. And whenever I feel I'm ready to undertake that project, I won't go in until I'm actually ready, and my
Right.
team is ready. The entire team, the investigative team. And I mean, we're talking to people who are going to do the interviews, the clairvoyant, myself, the investigative people, the people with the cameras and the audio and all that stuff. The entire team needs to be, in the right, straight, solid mind, not like, well, I'm having problems at home with my spouse, or I'm having problems with my kids, or I'm having some issues or whatever. Then you will go. Or we don't all, or if we have to wait, we all go together, or we don't go at all. It's that kind of sort of we need to do. We don't just rush into it, heads blazing. We need to actually, because I've had and I've learned throughout the years. These are the things that I've learned through mistakes that I've made. Um, Again, one of them is like one of the first mistakes is I didn't ask the person, do you want to be exercised? It was a daughter of a mother who said my mother is possessed, and she was clearly very bad. 2-day exorcism. She pulled a knife on me. I was calling the police.
Wow.
It was a mess. But anyway, at the end of it all, the daughter says, "I think my mother's possessed." Yeah, she is. I never took the time to ask the woman, "Do you want to be exercised?" She didn't answer. So anyway, I expelled the demon. Everything was fine. We went to the hospital because she had broken a limb and everything. So there was a lot of that. And then when she came back, she says, I really missed the demon. I want it back. She
Oh,
asked for it back. And so I know I asked you, do you want to be exercised? Because if you don't want to be exercised, if I don't get the yes, and I walk out. Sorry, I need that yes.
right.
Because what happened was she asked for it back. She's like that Stockholm syndrome. I've been with this demon for 40, 50 years. My parents were satanic ritualists, and now I've got this demon. And now I miss it because I feel empty. And this is where Sister Kia, who's the empath, and you should interview her as well. Yeah, you should. She's being that she's a mystic, a clairvoyant, very good clairvoyant. I mean, she bang on. She'll walk in and she'll tell you exactly what's going on, who's here, and
Yeah.
what's going on. If there's kids here or parents here, and she'll give you. She'll just and she'll do it before you even get there. She'll do a reading before her own memory. She'll go through it all before we even get there. And when we get there, we confirm that everything she said was right. She's very good that way. But she also does Reiki, and so she does a lot of post exorcism Reiki. So after we expel a demon, we want to make sure that the person who's left empty, it gets filled up with all the energies and the
Right.
chakra all back back in sort of solid again.
Yeah.
You're back to being filled with something. Yep, because it says if you don't fill the empty space, after the demon will return with 7 worse demons. And this is what happened with this lady. She ended up actually worse off than when I met her. Again, lesson learned, right? So you're making mistakes, learn from that, and so that is one of the things that that is important to me. I need to consent. Um, Again, I also another mistake I made. There was a couple, a husband. Well, they weren't together. It was a man and a woman. They were on the team, on one of the teams. They wanted to come with me in an exorcism, just to see what what it was like and everything. And I never really vetted them so much to know are they ready to walk in with me and do this? And as soon as I walked in, the person sitting there says to the guy, "Does your wife know you're cheating on him?" And told the woman, said, "Does your boss know you're stealing money from the business?"
Oh my
They were
God.
gone. They were gone. They turned around, gone. I was by myself. And it's like so I realized, nope. Unless you're solid and you're good, you're not going in.
Yeah.
So some of the things I've learned along the way, and sort of refine my practice, because I want to be effective. I want to go in and do the job to get out. A lot of people say, "Are you afraid? Are you this, that?" No, I'm not afraid. I believe God is 100% 24/7. I'm not like the Hollywood movies, like, oh my God, there's going to be a sequel, Devil's going to come back, there's going to, part 2 Rocky kind of thing, No, it's like you're going in, the demon's gone. The demon is going to be gone, whether you like it or not. It's gone, because the words are like, it is not I who command you, it's God who commands you. God, it's
Right.
God, it's Christ who commands you. Christ, where every knee shall bend to Christ. It's like you have to obey. And unlike the Hollywood, it's not so dramatic. You're not going to see the levitation. You will see levitations. I've seen that. I've seen the pea soup. I've seen the swearing. I've seen the eyes roll back. I've seen the strength. I've seen the language. Haven't seen any spinning heads yet, but it's early. So I don't know yet. But unlike some of the Hollywood things, you will see some of the things. The 1977 movie is pretty much one of the closest ones of what an exorcism really is like. Other than the spinning head, of Linda Blair, and what you see and how it's performed with two people, usually minimum two priests. That is what it's like. We might have to bind the person down. There's a lot that goes on, and there's certain stages throughout the exorcism, so we know that there's actually it's finally gone. But it's just important to know that it's a people really glamorize. Oh, I'm a demonologist.
Of
I'm an
course, yeah.
exorcist. And it's not. It's a dirty job. It's like being a police officer. Every call is a bad call. Emergency, EMS, ambulance. Every call is a bad call. You don't call police. Oh, hi. I'm having a great time with my wife.
I called you over to come and look at my flowers.
No, you're going to call because there's a domestic dispute. And so every call is a bad call. And same with the fire department. You're not going to pull a fire alarm because you want to see the firemen, unless you're a bunch of nurses and I wouldn't mind seeing the guys. The firemen are here. Sorry, I got to think about the calendar guys. But anyway, whatever.
Right.
They don't make calendars for priests or nurses, but they do make calendars for firemen. But every call is a bad call, and so when I get a call, I'm not going there, to have coffee and sip and have a social visit. I'm going there to do a dirty job. I'm going to get spat on. I'm going to get sworn at. I'm going to get things thrown at me. It knows a lot of your history, your past, and it throws a lot of that nonsense at you. It tries to break you down and tries to look at your weak stuff. So it's not pleasant. It's not a glamorous job. It's something that needs to get done, and it's my calling, and I've accepted it. But is it pleasant? No, not by any means. It's dirty. It's a dirty job. But what can you do? It is what it is. But again, I need the consent. Consent's important. The process itself is, there's a lot involved. People don't think you just show up and you throw some holy water and do a blessing. And it is more than that. You get a phone call. I usually send in a paranormal team like yourself. I say, okay, can you go in? Audio tape, video tape, spend the night, do what you got to do. Very professional team. We're not going to entice things. Not going to make things worse. We're just going to see what happens. Then I'll send another set of people in, do some extensive interviewing. Sit down with a person, their family, friends, people who are involved. What's going on? What's the history? Then I might send someone else to do another part of the investigation. To investigate the land, the home, that kind of history. And then then I may go in with sister, Kia, and we'll sit down and we'll do a whole, because we're nurses, right? So we'll do a complete medical review. If I'm going to do an exorcism on you, I want to make sure that you don't have a heart condition that I'm going to have to worry about having through the exorcism. I'm going to stop because I'm doing your vitals. I'm doing your blood pressure every 15 minutes while I'm doing this, because that's what we're doing. The blood pressure cuff is on. We're at the stethoscope. We're listening. We got a sat monitor. We're watching your vitals. Things go a little wacky. Your heart rate's going to 200. I'm going to stop. I'm going to back off. You don't push, right? You have to know when to stop.
Right.
This is a person you're talking about, right? This is not fun and games. So there's a whole medical history I'll go through. What medications are you on? What are you doing? I want consent to speak to your doctor. We'll call the doctor and say, hi, I'm Father, Bishop, also a nurse. I got consent to speak. Here's consent. This person's seeking out an exorcism. She feels that she has this, and this. I'm suspected that that might be the case, and I need to know heart conditions, problems, whatever. If there's mental health issues, I want to make sure that that's also addressed as well, because you can have mental health history and still be possessed, or not. You can have one or the other, or be fully mentally this could be totally schizophrenic, or it could be that you're perfectly fine, or you could have a combination of both. And there is a difference, and you have and they taught us that have courses that I've taken at the Vatican, how to distinguish between what is mental health and what is really demonic, and kind of, there's ways of determining, the differences,
Right.
and so because you have to, because a lot of it, oh, I'll get calls from people. Well, I've lost my wife, I lost my job, my kids hate me, I'm possessed. No, you're not possessed. Your wife left you, lost your job, and your kids hate you.
You're
You know,
depressed.
you'd be surprised the calls I get. It's like, they think because their world's falling apart that there's a demon involved. No, sometimes life sucks, and that's just the way it
Mhm.
is. And, but I mean, have you gone to church? Have you done this? I walk into a house. The first thing I say is, "Where's your crucifix?" I don't see one hanging up on the wall. I don't see your Bible on a kitchen table. I don't like where. Oh, they're in the closet. Well, you may want to get them out. Like, because, if you want help, you need to sort of help yourself. I mean, after I leave a place, the majority of the work is theirs after I leave. I leave them oil, salt, water, and prayers and deliverance prayers and things, and I expect them to continue on with that, or go to a faith-based church. I don't care if it's Catholic or not; it doesn't really
Right.
matter. I want you need to stop what you're doing and change change your ways if you want this thing to leave, because it'll come back. And this is where it's very important. So before I even go there, I may give them homework to see if they're how serious they are. Here's some prayers.
Yeah.
I want you to do some prayers. Here's some salt oil. I tell them to do salt baths. They're great. It's something that I find that really works well. You run a bath. Basically, it's warm water. You put your regular, bath soap in, and your Epsom salt, and just like you're going to have a regular, nice soak bath. And then add some holy oil that I would provide, holy water, and exorcism salt, and just a little bit. And then, of course, sit in the tub for 15, 20 minutes and watch the water turn gray to black.
Wow.
And watch the attachments just leave you. And people say and I have people tell me, "Oh my God, I feel so lighter." And then you stand up, and you see that the water is black. No one is that dirty, The water
Yeah.
is literally gray to black. And then then you get up, the shower, and you leave, and the attachment's gone. So I start with that. That neutralizes any attachments, anything that might be on you, and that weakens them. The whole point is trying to weaken them. I'm trying
Right.
to change the balance. You've lost control on one hand, and the demons got more control, and you're being affected, and your life is chaotic. And I'm trying to empower you to, you have more control, and he starts to get weaker and weaker, and then you say,
Right.
I don't need you anymore. Like, get out of here. I'll say a prayer. You're gone. So that's important. So that's part of the role. It's not just coming in and just doing.
Yeah.
I come in and kind of nip it in the butt kind of thing. Get that free will back. Give it to you, and then now that's work with that free will. You'll have
Mhm.
reconciliation. You'll have the Eucharist. You'll have I bless every member of the family. I'll bless the animals. Then we start with the house. Unlike some people, they open the windows and they say, do sage and all that, and open the windows and let it go out. Right. I'm the other way around. I do the salt outside the house. I make sure nothing leaves.
Yeah.
I want to get it. I don't want it to
Right.
leave.
Right.
Why would I want to go down the street to the next poor guy, that's vulnerable, because that's what's going to happen. No,
Mhm.
you're stuck in this house. Nobody leaves. I'm going to deal with it, and I slowly work my way in till I actually find out what's going on and then deal with it. And then everybody leaves. There's nothing escapes that. Because I've had like a dog. There was a dog one time in one place. I thought I had the place cleaned out, and everything was quiet. It was ready to leave, and the dog was barking. Whatever. He ran upstairs to one of the bedrooms and was barking in the corner. So I thought, I better go and see what's going on. And before I even had a chance to go up, the demon hadn't left, and it had hidden in the corner of one of the bedrooms, pretend that it had left. And the dog, routed it out, and the demon didn't like that. And this dog got thrown down the stairs. It didn't even touch the steps. It just went
Aw.
right down. And the dog was fine. But the dog literally pissed itself.
Yeah.
It was scared, but it got literally thrown down the stairs. It didn't even touch the steps, the whole flight of stairs. And I told the dog took one for the team. When I went up there, oh, okay, good. I went up there,
Yeah.
and sure enough, there it was. It was in the corner, and I dealt with it, and then it was finally gone. So they try to elude you, they try to hide and whatever. But I don't leave until I know that the entire home is clean. And like I said, I'll seal up the whole home and the land, and I work my way in until I get it all, because nothing leaves until I deal with it. And it's fine.
Do you physically see them, or is it like, or do you feel the presence of them, or
I will feel them. I have seen a couple little operations, but primarily sister sees them. Sister Kia sees them. She'll walk in and she'll say, "Oh yeah, there it is, right
there it is."
Yeah, and she's really good at it. Or she'll tell me what room it's in and whatnot, and she'll tell me what's going on. It's pretty good. She's pretty good that way. Because it helps me create a game plan of attack. Because without that, I'll be exercising the person, and then this happened before. This is more learning in the past, where I'm working on the person, and all of a sudden the eyes come back. Oh, the demon's gone. Well, the demon went upstairs, and then I would hear someone upstairs saying, "It's here," and then I would go upstairs, then I would run back down, and be back on the person again. So I'm just basically just chasing it. It's just playing catch. So this way, I know where it is at all times with the clairvoyant, that it's moving and it's doing this, because it tries to elude me. It's really funny how there's all kinds of activity, and then when I show up, it's nothing.
Yeah,
they're there, but it's all quiet.
Well, it happens with us too. For the paranormal,
I don't get that many investigations because people want to see activity. When I'm there, there's no activity. Yeah. I don't get invited to too many of those,
Yeah. It's interesting. We were talking about how, I think it was the last program, how people will immediately say, "Oh, it's a demon."
Yeah.
And not everything, of course, is a demon. But it's interesting how many people and investigators will say, "Oh, well, that's just Hollywood." But they do exist. And I know this because when I was a young investigator, I actually was called to witness an exorcism. And it was interesting because, and I didn't really know this at the time, but then it was so apparent. The person's eyes, the victim's eyes, were absolutely black. And what was interesting was I realized that in these particular cases, it's almost as if that person ceases to exist and they're in sort of a state of suspended animation. And whatever it is that has taken over. So they're not aware that, they're reaching out, they're incredibly strong, they're lashing out, they're doing what they're doing. They're totally unaware. And then, of course, when it's over, they have no idea that they've done these things. And that, I think, is the most terrifying thing.
It is. And yeah, I've had the eyes. I've been to places where the whites of the eyes are baby blue and the pupils are black. It looks like a husky dog, I've seen that. I've seen the eyes completely roll right back, which you can't create that. But, your eyes just literally go right back in sockets, and you just see the white. There's all kinds of things that they do see. Definitely, it's all in the eyes. You can see it. You've seen when it's all over. You can see the eyes are just totally different. The person's completely different. You can see it. It just is. And then of course, the feel in the whole room is completely different as well. The heaviness is gone. But you're right. Not everything is demonic. There are a lot of earth-bound spirits. I was at a farm out in Cornwall. You can see it probably on Facebook. And it's a 200-year-old farm, and it's had a lot of activity. Children were buried in the back. They found 2 tombstones. There was a few. That got desecrated as well. There was a lot of things going on. So I basically had to do the entire land. I had to redo a funeral, in a sense, a small little funeral for the children, so they would settle. And basically, most of the earthbound, there was two suicides. So the noose was still hanging up in the barn. I said, "What's that doing there? Like, guys, take it down." Why
would you keep that reminder, right? Like,
I don't think they even noticed it was there. So that's where he hung himself. And then they were taking pictures while I was doing the I forget, absolution is forgiven, go to the light, whatever. And then you can see on one of the pictures, there's a kind of a half wing, kind of like reflection in the picture that looked like an angel had scooped down and picked up the individual. There's a lot of that earthbound stuff that needs to move on, and of course you find the whole place is just much better. But what I have found in most of the places that have spirits remaining, there seems to be a demon that seems to lurk just on the outer rim. They're not necessarily involved, but I noticed, and in the clairvoyant, that there's something there, but not really involved yet. Kind of just waiting. I think because we, in essence, we are all really not solid. Everything around us, you and I, our computers, our equipment, it's all vibrational, and it depends on the frequency of the vibration. Um, it appears solid, but nothing, even ourselves, are not solid. We're all just energy. And so when we move on, I still, like I tell people, well, in your investigation, you have respect for the people that you're investigating and trying to get these spirits, because they're still people. And so I still give them absolution. This is something no one's ever heard of, giving like a traditional sort of absolution to a spirit after it's passed on. I said, well, I still do it because the spirit's still there. It needs to move on, and it needs to be forgiven. And it's okay. It's all forgiven. You move on for whatever reason why you're still stuck here. It's time for you to move on. But it looks like that these demons seem to need to feed off this energy, because the fact that we have this free will, we're in the image of God, basically in the same essence as God, the spiritual.
Right.
We're not like the angels. So there's an attraction, especially with children. There's children around.
Oh yeah.
These evil demonic things, they lurk because they like to feed off the energy, which keeps them bound even further and longer, and they just become a feeding ground. So once they're gone, if there's a demon around, they're so easy, either they just leave on their own, or they're so easy to expel because they've got nothing to feed off and be there for. So I do notice that a lot. I have noticed that a little bit. There's one of them or two might be lurking around, sort of feeding off, but not really involved, not really, making themselves known, kind of being very discreet. I have noticed that. But for the most part, not everything's demonic. A lot of it's just people that move on, I still respect the native land. I respect the natives. I will speak to an elder if there's an issue with a native land. I will seek out other religions, a rabbi, Jewish, Jewish person or whatever has issues, because I do the Roman Rite, which is Catholic, but there's one for Muslims, there's one for the Jewish community, there's many rites. Greek Orthodox has their own rite as well. It's not the same as the Roman Rite. It's different, but the principles are the same. You're going to expel. And I've seen some really wicked exorcisms done by even the Muslim community. Muslim will go in and do an exorcism on a Muslim man, and it's just something to see. But they have their own ritual. Everyone has their own ritual, and so again, when people ask me, "Well, you come and do an exorcism," well, I don't really care if you're Catholic, but you have to understand I'm going to use the Catholic rite. I'm going to call upon, God, Jesus, the Holy Spirit, these saints, the Holy Mother, like you name it, right?
Right.
And there is an actual ritual that I can read from, but I won't well, I'm not this, I'm that, or I don't believe. Well, if you don't believe, then how can I expel you? It's not I who's going to cast these people out. It's I'm using the power of God. I mean, that's the gift. That's the gift. That's the calling, and that goes with all callings. If you are like an empath, or you are whatever, Reiki master, whatever gifts are given to you, that's your calling. God backs it up with the power of authority behind that, because that's the gift that God's given you. Then you can use that authority. There are a lot of people out there thinking, well, I want to be a demonologist because I just want to be one. Well, that's great. Great for titles and stuff, but if you don't have the gift or the calling, then you won't get the backing that you need to do the job.
Right.
But I mean, I tell my paranormal team and many other teams that just because you're not an exorcist doesn't make you any less member of a team. Just because you're not an empath doesn't make you any less important in the process. I mean, I don't look at myself as anything higher than the rest of the team. We're all together. We're all equals. Even like the leader of a paranormal team, you're the leader. You keep the team together. You keep, that's your gift. That's your gift is, of leadership, of keeping this team together, safe,
Mhm.
prayer, whatever, and with follow-ups and things like that. People who interview, people who are doing the other stuff, the people who do the tech work, I have to commend them. The people who do the tech work are fantastic. They know the equipment, they know the audio. I mean,
Yeah.
and they'll sit there for hours, right? Hours and listen. Uh, they listen, they have hours, they listen and listen and listen, and they'll capture that one little blip or one little thing that the rest of us missed.
Mhm.
That's a gift. That's a gift. And I have to commend that. Without that, I can't do my job. I can't do what I need to
True.
do. So,
This is true.
when
True.
I'm going around, I only have two hands. I gotta have my ritual book, maybe my incense, my tumbler going. I need someone to spread the holy water behind me, someone to spread the oil, put it around the door hinges, around the door frames and windows and around and whatnot. So I need people to help me, So I've got a team of people that will follow me around and sometimes Sister Kill, she'd be the one that does the responsitory from the ritual to the response. I'll say something and then she'll respond, kind of thing. So,
Right.
again, there's so much to take in consideration. If I'm doing an exorcism on a woman, I make sure there's women present because dignity, right? I mean, you go to a doctor, a male doctor will always ask a nurse to come in with him if he's going to do
Yeah.
That's right.
an exam, right? So. Likewise, I mean, I have to make sure the dignity of the wound because the demons will do all kinds of very nasty things, and the skirts go up, and they're trying to keep their decency, and the demons don't care, right? They just try to make things bad, and and whatever, and you get the sexual connotation. Women are always given they make those comments, just like the movie. And something that happens, they'll start, they start throwing out the real sexual nonsense, right? And so I make sure that sometimes I have a doctor with me. I have a doctor that sometimes will come out and join me, and because he likes to see, because of his experience, he wants to see, especially a lot of the Eastern Rite, the Eastern doctors, the India, Pakistan, those countries there, their doctors actually believe in exorcism as actual treatment. Where in Canada, United States, it's kind of frowned on. It is probably in the DSM book, in the mental health book. There is a section on exorcism that it is a condition, but they frown on it as not being really a valid treatment. So they take medication and whatnot. Everything is sort of it's just in their mind, whatever. And it may be at some point, but I also think that if you're vulnerable, that's where the vulnerability comes in when you're vulnerable.
Yes.
Like a virus, you're vulnerable. The virus is going to be more effective and more virulent with you, right? Than it is with someone.
If you're focused on it, it's going to come in more. It's disease, right? If we're focused on disease, that's what you're going to get is disease. You're going to get more.
Unfortunately, most of them are women. That they all want to know the future. They all want to know. Oh, I want to know.
Mhm.
I'm going to meet Mr. Right. I want to do this. I want to do a psychic
That's
reading. I
true.
want to do
That's
this. And
Yeah.
it is true. It is true. But when I tell them, I say, why? Like, what is why do you doubt? Like, why are you doubting that that you need to go and do that? Because doubt, fear is of the devil. So right off the bat, you're doubting. You're doubting, that God's going to find
Right.
that girl for you, or that relationship, or that that things are going to work out. And so the women are notorious for that. I need to know. I gotta know. Well, no, why don't you don't need to know? Because this is why I'm here. So I'm not coming back.
Yeah.
I need to know. No, you
You
don't
know
need
what?
to.
I have a question that I think probably some people who are listening or watching this might want to know.
Sure.
All right. What if you are not Catholic or Christian, but you're having these experiences? Is it okay to call an exorcist such as yourself?
Yes, I do all the time. I do a lot of non-Catholics. I do anybody asks for help. You give me the consent, I'll come in. But I'm going to do the Roman ritual. I might do a few other things. If
Right.
you're not Catholic, I won't do the confessional. Maybe but I will at least sit down with you one to one, and I need you to please tell me what's going on. I mean,
Right.
and a lot of times, in their sort of conversation with me, they will tell me things that okay, now I know why. I know why this has happened, or I dabbled with this or did with that, or when I was younger, I was a stripper and I was this and I was that
Right.
and I was a prostitute. But that was 20 years ago. Now I have a husband and a beautiful home and a child, and that life is gone. But you never dealt with that life. You never really left, but you never really dealt with it. So that left you open and vulnerable. And then once we dealt with it, it was done. On another case, someone was having an abortion, and had extreme guilt, guilt and grief, and whatnot. And again, it's happened. There's forgiveness, there's reconciliation. We move on. It's happened, um, and but that left you open for an oppression of some sort.
Right.
So that's
Right.
just little things like that. Father Amorth, who was the head exorcist for the Vatican before he passed away last year, in his 90s, he did hundreds upon hundreds, thousands of exorcisms in his lifetime. Very good priest. They say we're not supposed to indulge the demonic. I mean, I shouldn't be like, when I'm doing exorcisms, like, give me your name, demon. Oh, by the way, like, tell me, who killed Kennedy? Like, we're not supposed to indulge in them because they do know the future. They do know the past and future. But
Right.
we're not to indulge them, not to give them power or authority. We want like to be silent kind of thing. Father Morton was so good at his exorcisms that he actually started. He did actually ask them, "How did you get into this person? What did they do?" And then they were forthcoming. And he wrote several books, which I purchased and read. So because he really wanted to know what was some of the causes, so that we could try to do some preventative things. And one of them would be like, for example, this is a real simple one here. When a groom wants to marry a bride, obviously he goes to the father, the bride. I want to marry your daughter. Can I have your blessing? You know, and of course, oh yeah, you get my blessing. Everything's wonderful. Done, right? A lot of times you say, no, I don't want you to marry him. I don't want you to marry her, and whatever. He's not good for you. Whatever. Oh, but daddy, he's a magic man. Well, whatever. Whatever those things are. But in hindsight, if you don't give a blessing, then what are you doing? You're doing the opposite. You're cursing. So you're
Right.
cursing the marriage, and you're cursing that union. So in God's eyes, it doesn't matter if you're 18 years old, 25 years old, or 15 years old. Uh, if you're not married, you are, for lack of a better word, the property of your parents. You're still under your parents' authority. And so until you're given away, that's what the whole thing with the marriage, right? And you're given away, and when you two become one. The Bible says it's the groom that leaves to join with the wife's family, and all that. So the blessing is necessary. If you don't get the blessing, you're cursing. The devils are saying there. They've said that they will demonically oppress somebody up to 9 generations.
Wow.
That's yeah, and then God has also said things in the Bible. Well, I will bless you up to 6 generations. So whatever you did good, I will bless you going forward 6 generations. So
Wow.
that's where that intergenerational bonds that come from, right? And I have rituals for that too. I have special prayers that can break the chains so that you can start
Right.
fresh. Because something your great grandmother did, 6 generations ago, she could have been involved in seances, and maybe she was a satanic ritualist. She was this, she was that, and then all of a sudden people don't understand why every generation, everybody's marriage is failing, everybody's things are failing. It's always the same thing. Like the demons they follow through and oppress and cause problems to the generation. So sometimes I will do an intergenerational ritual just to kind of, okay, let's just break the chain
Like
now.
cut the
Move
tide
forward.
towards it. Yeah.
Exactly. So
Huh.
people don't realize that how am I supposed to know that, granny back in the day, she was, making the potions and doing whatever else she was doing. So, and of course, there's blood ties that were done back in the day. There was, I found one person, they found out through our investigation and our interviews, we found out this person had a really extensive lineage, and we could go back. We found out that there was family members that were actually killed at the stake in Salem. I mean,
Wow.
so there's quite extensive history that goes back. Um, you really need to investigate. So we do a lot of investigative work. Once we investigate, do our thing, we do our prep work. We go in, we tell them what's going to happen. We get our consent forms, and then off we go. And we do our thing. So that whole process may take a few months. It won't take years. It will take several months. But I go prepared. I want the person to succeed. I want the outcomes to be good. And then there's also follow up after that. Just okay, see you later. Thank you very much. It's great coffee. I'm gone. We're heading back to wherever. And there's a lot of follow up. I still keep in contact with everybody I've exercised.
That's wonderful.
From 10, 15 years ago. I still, I'm doing great. I'm in the church. I'm doing that. I became a Reiki master. Now I help my granddaughter. She had a problem. I was able to help her. And we keep in contact because in my heart, they all become part of my circle of care.
Right.
As a practitioner, I guess. So they kind of become my own. So like my little flock that I want to take care of. So I keep in touch. You guys okay? You're not okay? Because they have their ups and downs. And sometimes they call. They have not feeling so great. A little encouragement. And they follow me on Facebook. And if there's any problems, they get in touch with me, and it's not a problem.
So if somebody was going through something, just to sort of wrap up, I guess, the show, could they contact you? Is there a way to contact you, or is there
Messenger, Facebook? I'm on YouTube.
okay.
I mean, whatever. Just look me up on Facebook. My number's on there as well, and I get a ton of messengers, just like this show. And someone reached out to me, through Messenger saying we want to do my show. Sure. So
Cool.
it's I don't seek out the gigs; they come to me. So
Right.
I just did one yesterday. As a matter of fact, a guy out of Texas. So and I got another one coming up in October, and I've got Paracon. So. People reach out to me. I'm on Facebook. I'm transparent. I don't hide. They can look me up. Sometimes just by word of mouth. And I can help out. Again, I don't travel right now, especially with COVID. I don't travel a lot.
Right.
Even pre-COVID, I can't just pick up on a plane and just fly to, Ohio or something like that. So I will send things to kind of help. I may even mail oil, salt, whatever. I will actually mail some of the things to help with instructions. And then I also encourage them to try the local churches as well. Because like in all fairness, we should include them as well. I'm not here to step on their toes. They are trying to get an exorcist in every diocese in the world. Rome is anyway, and so they're trying to. So chances are your local church or local diocese will have somebody that can come out locally.
Yes.
So
Right.
I don't step on toes. I will redirect them to them. But if again, it's a calling. Again, it's a calling, and if you don't have that, like I said in the beginning, in my first exorcism, I went, and I was basically just reading. Okay, the power of Christ compels you. What's your name, demon? Hang on a minute. It's Christ who compels you. No, really, I was just reading because I was just reading the ritual. I didn't know it. I had to read it. And I realized that wasn't effective, right? So when you see that movie, The Rite, you can see in that movie, he went there, and when his mentor, the other exorcist that became possessed, now it was up to him. You couldn't reach anybody. It was up to him to, he did the same thing. He was just reading, and then the thing was just laughing at him, right? And he ran out, and and the reporter was saying, you were meant for this, all that. Then he went back, and once he changed his demeanor, and he's like, yeah, I do believe in you, devil, and I also believe in God, and and then all of a sudden the demon realized it lost. Now he's changed his demeanor. So this is what I do too. I mean, what you see now is me. And when it's time for me to become an exorcist, I will step aside. When I come back, my whole demeanor it just changes.
Right.
I'm going to battle. So that's the change. And I go in with like veracity and boldness, and I'm just really going at it, right, with the words and whatnot, and I'm yelling, I'm screaming at them, I'm just really being very commandative, as opposed to like, hang on a minute, what's next? Next sentence. Yeah, the Holy Spirit commands you. All the living things command you. All the souls in purgatory command you. So
Yeah, they're probably sitting there like this. Okay.
like the people like look at each other saying, "Is it for real?"
Well, thank goodness. But thank goodness you are for real. And honestly, I want to thank you for doing what you do, because the countless people that you've helped, the countless people you've helped. I mean, that is incredible. And I'm so grateful that you do what you do, and you help people like us be better at what we do as well.
Yes.
And it's so important. Honestly, bless you for doing what you're doing. I am so grateful. It's just, my heart is full.
It's like you're giving people their lives back when they are in that place, and they don't know the next step.
That's all I want to do. I just want to give them back their authority and power. I don't think they realize what they really have received from God. Their free will is so powerful. Yeah. They can manifest things. They can, like the power that's been given to us as human beings, the gift that we got from God, to be part of His creation. I've come to know like the gifts. I can't even put into words. People we take it for granted, and then we just lavishly give it away, and all our actions, and don't care, and let's be kind to each other. Let's help each other. We're all really one. We are all just one little drop in the ocean. God is the ocean, and we're just one little drop. We're all just trying to get back to the ocean, and that's help each other instead of trying to outdo each other and all those kinds of things. And I think you're seeing with the COVID, you're seeing with the fires, forest fires all around the world, the droughts, the cyclones, the earthquakes, the volcanoes. God's speaking. I think he's trying to tell us that, like, I'm here, and I'm trying to wake you guys up a little bit, and he's just gonna keep escalating things until we realize that he does exist, and it's not asking for much, just an acknowledgement. Yeah. I mean,
it seems like there's a lot of people that are trying to take away God's power at this point in time as well. Not to dive too deep into all of it, but it's really being prominent right now, and it's very much being thrown in your face, about the loss of God's power is what they're trying to promote at this point in time. And it's heartbreaking, because, the power that God has.
You'd be surprised.
It just blows my mind.
Just ask. It's just ask and you receive it. So there was a simple little request, and they're just making it like God doesn't exist, and we can do whatever you want.
Making fun of it, and they're just
okay. Yeah, it was okay. You know what? They're gonna find out sooner or later. I mean, like I tell people, I said, laugh at me all you want, because when you laugh at me, then my because Jesus says, because of me, you're going to be, persecuted, you're going to be laughed at, and be mocked because of me. And when they do, know that your reward's in heaven, because so when they laugh, I say, thank you. I say, thank you very much for the insult. Thank you. That was wonderful, because you just made my spot in heaven more secure. Thank you. That's the best compliment you can ever give me, when you criticize me for loving God. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, beautiful. Oh, thank you. Do it again. I need more. So it's wonderful, because I know that he exists. I know the power is there, but watch TV, you watch whatever. Everybody saying, oh no, it doesn't exist, and you can do your own thing, and you're your own creator, and all this and all that.
Yeah.
And that's fine and dandy, but no, I'm sorry. I know all too well. I've seen too much. To think,
to doubt or have any other.
And that's another thing, well, I believe in I believe in the demonic, and oh my God, and all the nasty things that are out there and whatever. But yet you believe in that, but you won't believe in God. But like, you can't have one without the other.
Yeah.
And God created the angels that rebelled. So how can you pick? You can't pick and choose what you want. And I've seen a lot of evil. I'm part of. I'm a member of the Warrens, the Ed and Lorraine Warren team down in the States.
Oh, okay, yeah.
The Annabelle, the Conjuring, so Ed and Lorraine Warren have now passed away, but their son-in-law and their daughter Judy have taken over the legacy. So
I'm good friends with their grandson, Chris. So
yes, yeah, I know Chris is out. So I'm actually part of their team, though I'm up in Canada. I can't get down there lately, but I've blessed I've been in the occult museum. I've held Annabelle. These objects are they're bad, and they do exist, and I've seen it and firsthand. And I went down there to do an event, I guess, and they brought me on board on their team. So I'm kind of their consultant, their resident priest. So I'm actually on their team. So that actually helps me to at least find cases that are noteworthy, whatnot. But yeah, I've seen firsthand the objects. I've been in the occult museum. It's not open to the public now, but I've been in that area. I've been in there. I've seen the objects, and there's something to be said about all that. There's all those things that were collected by Ed and Lorraine throughout the years since the 1950s. There was a lot. And that was back in the 50s. So you just don't imagine now how bad things are. And so, anyway, it is what it is. And,
exactly.
But I'm finding myself having to help people that get themselves into trouble, trying to help other people, like paranormal teams.
Yeah.
People who get attachments. I'm actually doing more to do damage control as opposed to actually going in and actually helping a person. So that's why I'm trying to do more emphasis on trying to teach people, watch what you say, watch what you do, be prepared, take this seriously. This is not like two guys in a bar saying, let's start a paranormal team. Yeah, we'll get a Facebook going. We'll call it, whatever, paranormal, whatever. And then, then some poor family gives you a call and they're really in trouble. And you just, I want to hear for the video, audio. I want to capture a ghost. And then they leave and they don't help anybody. They don't find anybody to help them. And there's so many people who are ill prepared and they run down the cane, tired to buy the $99 starter kit, paranormal starter kit. You get the flashlight, EVP. I'm an investigator. And there's other people. In all fairness, are very professional. They spend thousands of dollars on equipment to do the job to do. And the thing is, all of us, like yourself, we do it for nothing. Did you know we are the third biggest volunteer organization in the world?
Really?
I read that in the entire world, we are the third largest volunteer organization, the paranormal world.
Wow.
We do for nothing.
Wow. Isn't that amazing?
Third largest in the world. Can you imagine? Yeah.
Wow.
We do this for nothing. We just, we leave our families, on weekends. We leave our families and our kids, and we go running off to whatever, spend a night in some place, and just to help people.
And you're doing it because you want to help them. You want to give them that relief of that stress that has infested their houses or their homes or whatever it is. It's that peace of mind, feeling safe within your own house.
Yes.
Yeah. And people make mistakes. I grant that. People will make mistakes, and I will help them get their lives back straight away. And it's an ongoing thing. It's not just after I visit. I'm there and I'm gone. But then there's a lot of communication, a lot of carrying on, follow up, how are things going, and you want to still going to church, still doing this, still doing that, and I very rarely, I think maybe once in my life, I've gone back twice. Usually I don't ever go back a second time. They don't have to. It's the deed gets done, and now it's up to them to move forward, and I make sure that person is willing and ready to make the effort to do that journey.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that say, well, just come and get it done. I got things to do. I got places to go. Just come and get rid of it. I don't really care, and then, they don't want to change anything. They just want me I'm not Harry Potter. I'm not going to come and, everybody boo, it's gone. It's, I need you guys to, this is your problem. This is your journey. It's not mine. I got my own problems. This is your journey. And, and I want you to make the changes and people are happier for it. Yeah.
Yes.
I just want to thank you so much for coming on to the show. It has been an absolute pleasure and an honor to talk to you today. Thank you so, so much.
No, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. I'll probably send you a link. I think you should try to interview Sister Key. I think you'll.
Oh, we would love to. That would be great. If
she's the other half of this process, and
yeah,
I give her equal due because honestly, her work is invaluable to what I do. I think a lot of people, a lot of mainstream Catholics, the church, mainstream church, most of them churches,
yeah,
put everything under one umbrella.
yeah,
You're an empath, you're this, you're that, whatever, and they put all of it, and it's evil or it's pagan or whatever. And they make one umbrella. Where I say no, everybody has different gifts, and I try to utilize these gifts, and I don't put this under umbrellas. And I mean, now that she's a sister, she's considered a Catholic mystic as opposed to an empath, a clairvoyant, but it means the same thing. It's just that Catholics use a different term. Two of the bishops and myself made her an actual mystic because she actually has proven herself to be very, very effective and productive.
We would love to have her on.
She is fascinating. You'll love her. She's charismatic, and she is so talented and with what she does. And she's the other half of the equation. So you really need to hear like how she conducts herself. Because that's the part I don't do. That part. That's not my role. Is to go in there and do tarot reading cards or whatever. But she doesn't do that either. She just goes in and just she has a process as well, and she's also an assistant to me. I don't even consider her an assistant. She's more of a partner because we don't go unless we go together, and it doesn't happen until she's ready and I'm ready, and we've got this all under control. So again, she's and I think she'd also be an inspiration. She'll be an inspiration to many other people who are empaths, sensitives of the sort, those who actually have real legitimate gifts, and maybe don't know what to do with them, how to use them, because there are so many people, especially women. Women are more sensitive than men, so they tend to be the best sensitives, the best empaths. So sometimes I find there's a lot of women that will reach out to me and say, "I have this gift, but I don't know how to control it. I'm seeing things, and it's bothering me. I'm having dreams. I don't know how to react. I don't know how to control it, how to ground myself, because there's a lot of grounding involved in that, especially with Reiki." So she's excellent in being able to help people with that. Enter people.
Oh, yeah, we would love to have her on for sure. Thank you. Please do. Thank you so very much again. Everybody, thank you so much for watching. We will see you next week. And I don't believe Linda's with us next week, but it'll be Peter and I and our guest. So thanks, everybody. Have an amazing week. Take care.
Thank you. Bye, guys. Stay safe.